Hello, this is part 1, section A of my photo issues part in my moon hoax conspiracy series. So here we go. In my opinion, the biggest red flag are all the anomalies in the photos for Apollo 11 and the entire Apollo project in the moon hoax. The biggest red flag is the photo anomalies, and that is what I'm going to talk about in this video. So here we go. Why did the US press ignore sidelight in photos and videos in the supposed moon landings? It's in the Bill Casing book and in a lot of the other research. The press was always in lockstep with NASA, meaning they were always trying to make NASA look good. TV and radio can be faked. Any entity of power can fake anything. NASA had at least $30 billion in this budget and probably a lot more than that. There are basic anomalies with the Apollo 11 photos. There's no stars in the photos and there's no planets with the supposed moon landings. In certain years, I can see planets from my house on Earth. Same thing with stars. But the astronauts could not see any stars or planets from the surface of the moon with no atmosphere. This makes no sense. There's light in the photos where light shouldn't be. There's no crater under the LM or the spaceship. That's on page 32 of the Casing book. That's one of his biggest arguments. This is probably impossible due to the force of the landing on the supposed moon. You would at least have an indentation under the LM. The lunar rover could have been in the desert, meaning it could have been faked. In the western grid of the United States, in the desert. All of these missions could have been faked like that. The background in these photos actually looks like a photo, meaning, in my opinion, it's way too smooth to be the moon. Remember, meteorites have pelted the moon since antiquity, changing the surface of the moon over time. There's no lunar weathering in the photos, meaning you should have uneven appearance of the moon according to science. It's just way too smooth, in my opinion, to actually be the moon. It makes no sense. The boot of Aldrin sinks into the ground of the moon, which also doesn't add up. I'm going to get more into this later in the series. It makes zero sense. There's also been theories about Stanley Kubrick's face in a reflection on the LM or the spaceship. There's been rumors about this for years. It could have been him or somebody that looks like him. I actually saw a book in 2002 in Providence Place Mall in Providence, Rhode Island, and it showed this reflection in a book. I don't remember the name of the book, but it definitely is out there. I'm going to get more into Kubrick later in the series when I go into the conclusion and the conspiracy section. In one photo of Aldrin, the sun is behind him, yet the reflection is on his helmet. This makes absolutely no sense. According to Bill Casing, NASA had at least about $7 billion to fake it, maybe a lot more. They had master control over the whole media, meaning NASA was largely controlling the entire media. He claims they used a modified IBM 370C computer. It was well-edited tape release, meaning the people that thought they were watching a moon landing were basically watching a VHS movie. The TV broadcast avoided perfect picture, per NASA. NASA wanted to make it look more real and thus more realistic. So people would think these people were really on the moon when they weren't. According to Casing, frolics of the Astros were crew exercises. You had satellite backup, backup on backup, meaning nothing was left to chance. Satellites put out microwaves. I believe there was deeper photo fakery in subsequent missions. NASA had a big advantage over human perception because nobody knew what the moon looked like. NASA had surveyor photos, black and white, of the lunar ground. The photos from Apollo 17 have the Kubrick horizontal, which means they are probably fake. What is the Kubrick horizontal? Well, what it is when Stanley Kubrick made movies, there was like a line in the middle of the image or a video, and it separates the foreground from the background. And the background is basically projected in to make it look like somebody is anywhere when it's all fake. And this is all over literally almost all the Apollo photos. Basically, according to Weaver in his book, the Kubrick horizontal should only exist on a plateau such as something like the Grand Canyon. In my view, NASA played games with the Kubrick horizontal to cover it up by adding lines, textures, and other things over time. It was done heavily in Apollo 17 photos, according to page 123 of the Weaver book. I think it was done a lot in Apollo 15 and 17. The realism of the background got better with later missions, but it still looks fake because it's plain. Remember, you would have uneven surfaces on the moon according to science. A lot of this doesn't add up. Andreas Markey in the Weaver book, who's also on alllist.com, proved that all the Apollo 11 photos were faked. That's on page 124 through 126 of the Weaver book. NASA used black and white video on purpose, according to him. Channels with no direct feeds. There's pool of light that follow the camera on a black background. According to Markey, this is not possible. It suggests multiple sources of light. On a flat moon surface, you should have even lighting from the sun. Markey is a famous photographic expert that is all over the Apollo 11 research and all over the Apollo program research, proving it was all a hoax. He is cited a lot. Okay, here ends this video. Thank you for your time. Please make a note that my next video is going to be on moon topography problems in photos of the moon. And I'm also going to talk about skeptics in the next video who have tried to expose a lot of things about the supposed moon landings in '69, and they keep exposing it to this very day. I'm going to give some examples of that. And there's a lot of people out there that are doing this. Once again, thank you for your time. Thank you for your consideration. I'll see you soon. It's free to subscribe.